So part of living a peaceful life is recognizing the difference between ownership and blame. I'm going to show you a simple statement that will immediately help to shift what you see in your life if you see something you don't like. Watch this. What's up, everybody? This is Dr. Zeb, your everyday life coach. And you know what I do? I provide you with tools for practical living so that you can transform tomorrow today. I've got a very powerful and quick video for you on a topic that is really near and dear to me. I discovered something over the last month or so, a phrase that was really helpful for me when it came to understanding how to know the difference between ownership and blame. And before I get into that, because this is going to be really good, I want you to like this video. I want you to share this video really quickly. Subscribe to our channel if you haven't already. Hit that little subscribe button down in the lower right-hand corner, and then hit that bell so that you can be notified of when we go live, because we'll be going live in the very near future. And I cannot wait to bring you some very live, good content that is really going to help you. So like this video, share this video, subscribe to our page. Hit that bell icon so that you'll be notified when we go live, and we'll go from there. Now, I discovered something over the last 30 some odd days, a big difference between ownership and blame. You know, sometimes, and I'll drop the link in the description. I did a video a few weeks ago on something called catastrophizing, and catastrophizing is this term, this medical term that is used to describe people taking a situation and making it way worse than what it is, right? It's another way of saying exaggerating, right? And so anytime you catastrophize over anything, I'm so dumb, or I never get this right, you're catastrophizing, right? You're taking the extreme end of something. And anytime you are operating in extremes, right? Or you're taking a situation, something that has gone bad or gone wrong, and you're taking it to the extreme, what tends to happen is we end up taking unnecessary responsibility, right? So when you catastrophize over a situation, something that you did, something that happened to you, something that someone else did, you tend to then take unnecessary responsibility for that situation. And when you take unnecessary responsibility, then you're getting into an area where you begin to live your life in guilt and shame over things that really you shouldn't feel guilty and shamed over. And this is where we get to a very simple phrase that I discovered that will really help you break through anytime you feel overwhelmed. Anytime you feel like you've reached a place where you are taking unnecessary blame for a situation or unnecessary blame in a circumstance. This phrase will really help to reset your mind and reset your energy and get you in the direction of seeing things not for what you have catastrophized them to be, but seeing things for what they really are. And sometimes when we see things for what they really are, you know, it brings our negative energy from way up here to all the way down here. All right. So before I give you the phrase, it's very important that you know the difference between ownership and blaming. This is very important. When you're living your life and things happen in your life, you've got to come to grips with the difference between taking ownership and taking blame. Ownership is taking responsibility for you, right? So when you take ownership for something, you are taking responsibility for you and your role in that situation, that circumstance, right? That's what we do when we take ownership. When we take ownership, we take responsibility for us. Ignore that phone. We take responsibility for us. When we take blame, we take assigned responsibility. All right. So ownership is taking responsibility for us. Taking blame or accepting blame is when we take assigned responsibility. So anytime we take assigned responsibility, it's not necessarily responsibility that belongs to us, It is responsibility that we've allowed somebody else to give to us. And so this is very important. You should never allow yourself to take the blame for anything that you aren't responsible for. All right, did you catch what I'm saying? Never take the blame for anything you are not responsible for. Ownership says, I am responsible for it. Blame is when somebody attempts to shift responsibility onto you that doesn't really belong to you. And that's what happens when we catastrophize. When we exaggerate a situation or exaggerate a moment or exaggerate a circumstance or exaggerate something that's happened to us, what we are in essence doing is we are accepting responsibility for something that does not belong to us. We are accepting a responsibility that is not ours. And I'm here to tell you, my friends, when you accept responsibility for things that doesn't belong to you, you will find yourself stressed out over things you have no business being stressed out over. Did you hear what I said? When you take responsibility for things that don't belong to you, you will find yourself stressed out over things that don't belong to you. And so you can't afford to get stressed out over things that don't belong to you, nor can you afford to allow yourself to take responsibility for things that frankly don't belong to you. So what's the formula then? If you find yourself at a place where you've been catastrophizing and you have been allowing yourself to just be down in the dumps, out, depressed, upset, filled with anxiety over situations that really, it wasn't your fault. It, had nothing. It may have had something to do with you, but it was nothing for you to take ownership with or take ownership over. How do we get out of this funk? There's a very simple phrase I want you to remember. Anytime you find yourself in this place, I want you to repeat this. It's not my problem, and it's not my business. It's not my problem, and it's not my business. Sounds so simple, right? But I discovered something over the last 30 days that sometimes when I would have thoughts and thoughts would kind of creep in my mind, Zeb, if you would not have done this, then this wouldn't have happened. Or if you would not have been positioned here, then this wouldn't have happened. And I found myself really taking situations that were small and really making them mountains and making mountains out of the situations and beating myself up over things, not that I just did, but things that people did that had nothing to do with me. Like whole adults did this stuff. It wasn't me, but I found myself taking responsibility for their things. I had to pump the brakes and say, wait a minute. That's not my problem, and that's not my business. And when you live by that mantra, you will find yourself putting your life in a lane where you only allow yourself to take ownership instead of taking blame. See, when we begin to take the blame and we begin to allow people to shift responsibility onto us for their behavior, or we allow circumstances to grow so much in size that those circumstances, we begin to take responsibility for circumstances that are really beyond our control. That's when we shift from ownership to blame. And the way you avoid that is simple. When those thoughts come across your mind, you simply repeat this. It's not my problem, and it's not my business. It's not my problem. It's not my business. They don't care too much for me anymore because of the decision I made. It's not my problem. It's not my business. People on my job get frustrated because I see things differently, and they give me a hard time at work. Why are you taking the blame for that? Are you doing your job? Are you doing your job well? If you are, then here's the phrase. It's not my problem. It's not my business. That phrase is a powerful phrase because it reminds you that you should never operate in blame. You should only operate in ownership. All right? Don't forget the phrase. If you find yourself getting in a jam throughout the day where you find yourself carrying the problems of other people, being very apathetic and carrying the problems and the issues and challenges of other people or other circumstances or situations that don't belong to you, simply try saying this phrase. It's not my problem. It's not my business. Whatever the it is, it's not my problem. It's not my business. And watch your energy begin to shift immediately. Do me a favor, like this video. If this video was helpful, I want you to not only like it, I want you to drop a comment in the box below. Give me your feedback. I always look for feedback to be left on these videos. So give me some feedback. We don't have a lot of followers now. That'll change soon, we really believe. But definitely drop your comment there and give me your feedback on what you think about these videos. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Hit that bell icon so that you can get alerted anytime we have new content or we go live. All right? Would you do that for me? I hope this video was helpful. Remember, you got 2 jobs. 1, I want you to be better today than what you were yesterday. And 2, don't forget what I told you. Now go after it. Why can't life always be this easy?